Welcome to another edition of the TechSoup Connect Canada chapter. We're a project of the Digital Nonprofit, which is a group of volunteers who come together once a month, sometimes more, to bring together a training or support event for nonprofits who are technology curious. My name's Eli. I'm one of the co-hosts, along with Ben Abel, who's here as well in the chat. All of the chapters are part of TechSoup under the umbrella. TechSoup is a nonprofit that helps other nonprofits get, implement, and use technology effectively. I'm super excited to have David Pisarek here with us. He is the Chief Digital Aficionado, amongst other grand titles with Wow Digital. And today we're going to dig a little bit into how we can simplify our internal processes and build better systems. But you say, who is this David guy? So David is an experienced web and digital solutions architect, designer, and project manager. He's worked with a variety of clients in the education, nonprofit, political, healthcare, and government sectors. And he's led the creation of websites of all sizes, from just like little brochureware sites to those with over 8,000 pages. So no matter where you are in the continuum of support, David's your guy.
Thank you so much, Eli, and hi, everybody. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule to come, to learn, to grow, because that's really what this is all about, right? Showing up for these sessions. It's how we grow as people, and then we go back to the organizations that we work in, and we help them grow as well. So the session today, I've called it Building Better Systems, right? Let's simplify your internal processes at your nonprofit, your charity, your community group, your NGO, whatever it is in the for good kind of space. So today I'm probably going to be talking a lot about nonprofit, but whatever your organization is, this will absolutely apply. And I am going to give a little bit more of an in-depth intro, but I usually like to do that like a few slides in. So just bear with me here. So imagine Lily, a dedicated supporter eager to donate after seeing your recent social media post. When she clicks on a link on her phone and discovers she can't read any of the tiny text, she closes, she moves on, right? And we need to figure out, how can we build some better processes? How can we ensure that what we're doing is actually hitting the mark? So I guess if everybody can find the button there that says chat, or if you want to find the mute to unmute button, that's okay too. I'm curious. I want to know where you're at and understand your organization a little bit. So I'm curious, do you have any documentation for your existing processes? So the stuff that you're doing day to day, for example. Okay, Bridget has some. Okay. Stephanie, yeah, definitely needs an update, right? We've got a couple hundred SOPs, so standard operating procedures in my agency. And when we think we've got them all done, what do? We go back and start at the first one, right? And we go through is this the process that we go through? Is this the software that we're still using? And let's continually update it on a somewhat frequent basis. It doesn't have to be every week, right? But maybe once a year, once every 2 years, go back and review for sure. So Eli, few projects, documentation, but gaps. Yes, we see this across a plethora of organizations that we work with, that we do the coaching and consulting with. Absolutely. Working on them. Cool. There's a great, I don't talk about this in today's presentation, but there's a really amazing tool that we use for documenting processes. It's called Komodo Decks. I will grab a link here. Komodo Decks. There we go. It's really neat. It will screen record what you're doing as you're doing it, and then it'll make a video of it, but it'll also make a user guide of click this, do that. And it just does it as you're recording with it. So you don't have to take screenshots and all kinds of stuff like that. We've been using that for a few years now, and it works really, really well. Awesome. Okay. So here's a quick story, and one that I've heard from more than they're willing to admit. But right, let's say you wanted to send an email about an upcoming event. Sounds pretty easy, right? But maybe the spreadsheet of contacts hasn't been updated in months. Maybe you don't even know how people got onto that spreadsheet. Maybe you just have a text file, right? Maybe the event date had changed, but nobody knew. And the person who has the final graphic, they're away on vacation. So after a bunch of emails back and forth between the team, or maybe you and a volunteer, some late night edits, mad scramble, potentially cutting really close or even missing the deadline to send stuff off. And it's not really a one-off issue. It's more of a symptom about how internal systems and processes are, or in this situation, aren't working for you. And today we're going to be talking about how to help with that struggle, a handful of tools and strategies that don't require a degree in technology to be able to work through this. Or David, yeah, contacts are in a CRM. Maybe your CRM is not connected to your email platform, right? And being able to export or even log in to one of them, right? Maybe the password was changed or the two-factor authentication is enabled and it goes to somebody's personal phone that you don't have access to. Yeah, for sure. So as we go through the session today, I want you to think about all the work that you, and if you have a team, what your team does. You don't have to type this into chat, but just keep this in the back of your mind. What are your monthly, your quarterly, your annual goals, your targets, KPIs? And think about how many people are involved in the work that your organization actually does. So these are really the three biggest problems that people come to us with. One is scattered tasks and missed deadlines, just like what I was talking about. Maybe there's too many tools or access to the tools, or maybe there isn't clarity in how to work with the tools, right? Maybe you don't know, or nobody knows who's doing what. Wasting time on repeatable work, reinventing the world, reinventing the work every campaign, right? Every time you hire or onboard somebody or volunteer comes in, or even every meeting, right? It leads ultimately to burnout and communication breakdowns, right? People are overloaded. Things can fall and do fall through the cracks. And then there's a mad scramble when you discover something was missed, right? I've got some promises for you today. So coming out of the session, you're going to get clarity on accountability and flow in your organization. You're going to learn how to streamline who's doing what without micromanaging. I just want to be clear, nothing I'm talking about today is about micromanaging people. It's about ensuring that the work that you want to get done is actually getting done. We're going to talk about, or I'm going to talk about, reusable systems that you can implement to save hours. So this would be like templates, SOPs, standard operating procedures, and automations to do a bunch of the lifting for you. And ultimately, you're going to end up with a calmer, more empowered team, or if it's just you, right, you're going to feel hopefully more relieved once you start implementing some of these tools. And with the better tools and shared processes, you're going to be able to collaborate and communicate with ease. Also, I want to mention, very open session today. If you want to come off mic as I'm going through anything and interrupt me, feel free to type in the chat as I'm going through as well. I'm going to do my best to keep my eye on that, but Eli is here to help rein me in on that if there's anything that I do miss. All right, so who am I? You got a little bit of an intro right at the beginning, but hi, I'm David. I'm the CEO and founder and a mentor and coach for consultants in the for good space. We work with nonprofits and charities in the space to build better systems and processes, doing web systems integration, like things that I'm going to be talking about today. I have personally over 30 years of web design and marketing experience, with nearly 25 years in nonprofits full-time doing web marketing branding. I've been interviewed on over 25 podcasts. I've been cited in a PhD dissertation. I've taught web design and programming at 2 Ontario College full-time programs. I was a lead developer in '99 at a startup during the dot-com boom. In 7 weeks, we raised $1 million in capital funding and went public on the Toronto Stock Exchange. I worked full-time in nonprofits from 2000 to 2016 when I founded Wow Digital. Last week was our 9th anniversary, which absolutely just blows my mind. We've completed over 300 projects in the nonprofit NGO charity space. We've evaluated well over 500. It's almost close to 600 Canadian nonprofit, charity, NGO, and foundation websites. I've been mentoring and coaching consultants for over 4 years, helping them grow scale, bringing tens of millions in net new revenue. And finally, in January of 2021, little kudos shout out here. I started a podcast. It's called Nonprofit Digital Success. We're at 115 episodes and counting. It's on your favorite podcast platforms, social media, YouTube, as well as directly on our website. Feel free to go check it out, but later, not during our session today. So why am I here? My mission is to empower 5,000 nonprofits to improve the lives of 100 million people through digital solutions. So any of you take one little thing that I talk about today and go and mention it to somebody or implement something, you're helping me get closer to my goal. So thank you for listening, for being here, and for hopefully creating some kind of positive impact from anything that you get from today. These are just some of the organizations we've helped over the past couple of years. And let's just get clear on why we're here. It's about getting better systems so that your nonprofit and your organization runs more smoothly. I'm going to show you how to bring some order to chaos to help streamline maybe some of your day-to-day operations and save you and your team some time and hopefully a lot of stress. And the best part, you don't have to be techie. You just have to be willing to start with something really small and move forward with that. So I've got a couple of questions here for you, and feel free to find chat here. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is like really horrible and 10 is ultra amazing, how happy are you with your internal processes? Stephanie coming in strong with a 7.5. Awesome. 5, a couple 2s. Laura's at a 5. 6, 6, 5, 6. Okay. All right. So it sounds like a lot of you are okay. There's something you could probably be doing a little bit better, or maybe doing a little bit differently, or in Bridget's case, just starting, right? And that's awesome. Okay. So another question for you. Same scale, 1 to 10. How confident are you that your team, or if it's just you, that you know what you need to do like on a day-to-day basis without needing to ask or to figure it out? I'm into the 5, 6, 5, 6. Eli's at a 2. Okay. All right. Hopefully after today and starting to implement some stuff, we'll get that 2 if we talk in a couple of months up to a 5 or a 6. All right. Stephanie at a 7.5 again. All righty. Okay. So the thing that I always like to say is that you need to run your nonprofit like a business. It takes money to do the stuff that you want to do. You have overhead, even if you don't have a physical office, right? You need a computer, you need internet, you need a cell phone, you need supplies, you need stuff, right? So there is overhead. You need to do some marketing. Maybe you have a really basic website you're paying for Wix or Squarespace, I don't know, $10, $15, $30 a month, or you've got a robust website. Doesn't really matter. Maybe you're renting space, or you have a PO box. You need supplies, shipping costs to send stuff. There's some organizations that collect clothing and they pack it into barrels, and then they have to ship those over to whatever country they're going to, right? So there is overhead with what you're doing. And so we need to think of the nonprofit from a business perspective, right? Systems are about valuing your time, your expertise, and the impact that you can actually deliver, right? When you run really tight on time, panic usually sets in, and I've been there. It happens to me more than I'd probably like to admit. When you're up on tight deadlines, you end up working harder. You end up sometimes making some mistakes or skipping steps because you're like, oh, I don't need to do this. When reality is that there's that step for a reason, right? You need to do that thing. And having the right systems in place are going to help you find what you're looking for faster. And documentation is going to help you not rely on your memory, where you might forget a step here or there, causing issues down the road. In my agency, we do a lot of websites. That's like bulk of what we do. And if we miss a step, when we launch that website, it might get de-indexed and removed from Google, right? We don't want to miss those steps. So we created systems and processes and lists and checklists that we go through to make sure that we actually don't miss any of those steps. Every untracked hour is a gift to inefficiency. And when you track your time, you end up taking back control of your finances. What I mean by this is by knowing where you and your team are spending your time, you could actually make smarter decisions, right? So if you know that your team is working 9 hours a day for the last 2 months, it's time to ask why. Where are we spending the time? If the work is actually everything that has to be done, can we get a volunteer? Can we hire a consultant? Can we implement AI in something to help speed up things or to integrate? Do we need to hire a part-time or a full-time employee? Is there new software? Is what we're using really cumbersome and we need to move to a different platform? Maybe to some of that or potentially all of that. In October, I was in New York at a conference for digital agency founders, and Marcel presented, and there was a really great conversation around how we should expect our teams to output or how much we should expect them. In his research, he actually talked about how hitting around 65% output or so is typical across businesses, across sectors. So in the nonprofit, for profit, it doesn't really matter. It's okay to have some time to play with stuff. AI is really big. I don't know a lot of nonprofits that are really leveraging it because you need the time to spend to actually play with it. And it's okay to have time to test new things. It's okay to spend some time doing a little bit of research. It's okay to have a little bit of social time with each other, right? And so back to what I was saying earlier is it's not about micromanaging. So why am I talking about time tracking? Because being able to leverage data, it'll help you make smarter, more informed decisions. And I'm going to show you some stuff very soon in like ways that you can do this. Okay. So anybody here juggling spreadsheets, emails? I pretty much always have a stack of Post-it notes on my desk. I've got them right here. Inconsistent processes means that you're losing time, you're potentially missing stuff, losing information, and you get stressed out. Having good systems, Eli's a juggler for sure. Having good systems means that you have clarity. It'll help save you time. And ultimately, you're not going to hit that panic. You're going to be calmer. Some common nonprofit challenges is that there's no single source of truth. There's no, this is how we do this thing. Not that you shouldn't question it from time to go, can we improve this or should we change it? But there isn't necessarily the truth, right? Everybody seems to be doing things their own way. You don't necessarily have standardized processes. There's manual workarounds. Okay, yeah, we're going to export a CSV of contacts from our CRM. We're going to manually type in people that attended this event, and then we're going to upload that into an email platform and send it off, right? That's manual work that could be automated using systems. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. Sometimes it's hard to train and onboard new members of your team, whether they're volunteers or people in the community or actual employees that just started with you. So how can we build that out? Communication breakdowns, like any of this resonating with anybody? Am I like way off base? Yeah, okay. All right. Cool. So some quick wins for you to walk away with. It's really important to get tools in place and to start playing with it. And this is where you need to carve out a little bit of time in your calendar to go, you know what, today I'm going to spend 20 minutes doing this thing. When people start talking about new ways of doing things, usually other people in the team start to get nervous, anxious. And what's really happening is like the fight or flight scenario. When I was working at the college and university, I was there for about 11 years, and we started up a brand new university. The finance department, so the university had very little money. There was some government funding that came in, but really it's a brand new organization. So they didn't have the budget to hire a full marketing team, a full IT team, a full HR, finance, et cetera, et cetera. So they leaned on the team from the college. That's great. And we said very early on, and one of the things I identified is, hey, you need a separate student information system here, and you need to set it up this way and not use the college one. Because at some point you're going to want to separate, because universities and colleges, even though there's similarities, they're very different. They didn't do that. And then fast forward, I think it was about 4 years later, they hired a contractor to come in, and he reviewed everything and said, you need to split the system into two. And finance went, okay. And what ended up happening is when push came to shove, the people in finance didn't want to learn a new tool. They didn't want to learn how to move things back and forth between them. They didn't want to grow. I think they were maybe a little bit worried about their job, possibly, because the university was heading in the way of hiring some new employees. We need to manage that and have real conversations with the team. I know over the last couple of years, with the influence of AI coming in, there's a lot of people that are really worried about losing their jobs to AI. And like my team, we've got designers and developers. You can open up AI and ask it to program something for you and design something for you. Is it going to look and work as well as it would by human? No, it's getting better over time. But so I had a really great conversation with my team saying, hey, like we need to leverage AI to save ourselves time, not to replace any of you. So we need to have those conversations with our teams when we're looking at some new software, right? So like, why do we need, and answering these questions, like, why do we need this thing, whatever it happens to do, whatever it happens to be, rather? What's wrong with doing things how we have been doing them? What does this mean for me? Am I going to be replaced by software or systems? So it's not about replacing people, like I said, it's about making our life easier, right? And it's okay to embrace change, even if it's just one small little thing. And that's where I suggest that you start. So give yourself some permission to play. And there's 3 things that I want you to walk away with from today. One is I'm going to talk about 4 tools that can make your work easier. The second is I'm going to talk about ideas on how to document and streamline processes. And then the third is like a clear next step for you to try on your own at your organization. All right. So I'm curious, product management systems. How many people have one that they use? Stephanie's got one. Okay. Just so you know, having a text file sitting on your desktop going, these are the things I need to work on. That is a project management system. Using your inbox as your to-do list. That is a project management system. Having a series of Post-it notes on your desk. I love Post-it notes. You can probably see the board behind me here. Having a series of Post-it notes on your desk. Or if you level it up, I've got a Kanban board that I made for my stuff. I don't use this anymore, but I pulled it out of my folder over there so I can show you. That is a project management. It's not software driven. It's physical, tangible. So I'm curious. Oh, Eli's got a whole bunch there. Thank you for mentioning those. That perfect segue. I'm curious if you've got a platform. What is it that you're using? This map, Kanban eyes. All right, cool. Monday. All right, Trello, pull reminders. Awesome. And it's okay to use multiple ones, right? I'm going to be talking about one specifically today. And if you want to use it, go for it. But a lot of the platforms like Asana, Trello, Airtable, Monday, they're all similar and also a little bit different. Some do more than others do. All right. So let's get going here. So the first tool I'm going to talk about is called Clickup. Has anybody heard of Clickup before? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So think of ClickUp like organizing a fruit stand. That's why I've got some fruit on the slide here. Everything is in its place. It's easy to find. Nothing's going to waste, right? My team and I, we are power users, right? And so what can you use ClickUp for, right? There's projects and campaigns. There's messaging. There's chat built right into it. You can create content calendars and reminders in there. Rossetti, that is a huge understatement. Absolutely. It can definitely get complicated for sure. You can create SOPs, so your standard operating procedures. You can use it for CRM. ClickUp has an add-on that's built right into it for AI, so you can leverage that as well. Think of ClickUp as a mega uber powerful spreadsheet on a crazy amount of steroids. So in ours, we have a master project. So if you have an event that you run every year or every 3 months, or even if it's a different event, You can have one event that you plot out everything that you need to do for it, and then you just duplicate it every time you run an event and you use it as a template. Actually, in ClickUp, there are templates. So you can save that project as a template. And then when you create one, it'll automatically do that. You can use it for onboarding. So you could have, here's all the training that you need to know. Here are the systems. Here's where to go to log into this. Here's our network drive that we have. Here's our platform for donations for CRM, et cetera, to help ease the onboarding purpose. And then time tracking is built right into it. Any questions about this so far? I am going to go into it a little bit more, but any questions about this? I'll just give maybe another 20 seconds in case anybody does have a question. If not, that's okay. No problem at all. Yeah, ClickUp doesn't have a nonprofit discount specifically outlined, but they do say to contact them, as Eli mentioned there. I don't know what Tiddly is, but yes, you could integrate it with Monday. I don't know that you would necessarily want to, because you can do almost everything you can in that you're doing in Monday inside of ClickUp. But I'm going to talk later on about a platform called Zapier. Some people call it Zapier. I don't know. Maybe it's Zapier because you create zaps in it, not zapes. But yeah, you can definitely integrate platforms if you needed to. So in terms of time tracking, this is just an example of, and I've got 3 screenshots that are going to come up here. But the first one here, this is what we do in my agency for tracking time. We have, these are all the internal things that we work on between blog, client calls, my personal brand, doing education, training, growth, email and messaging, financial stuff, all kinds of stuff. We have projects, obviously, that we onboard and we track time on those because we need to know how profitable we are on those projects and that we're delivering and that we aren't overshooting our estimates and stuff like that. But we also need to track the time that we spend on stuff internally, because I need to know, oh, hey, look, internal meetings, we've spent 3,257 hours and 54 minutes between myself and my whole team doing internal meetings. Are those internal meetings important? Yes. So we're not going to look at cutting that time down. For my podcast, we've spent 323 hours and 47 minutes. Is the benefit there for doing the podcast? Are we getting leads from it, for example? As a nonprofit, are we getting donors reaching out to us or reaching new people out there? Is the cost for producing an episode worth the investment, right? Maybe instead of doing a weekly episode, we should do monthly, and that would cut the cost in a quarter, right? So you can make, this is what I'm talking about. If you understand where you're spending your time, you can actually look at the numbers and go, okay, yes, this, we need to change this because it's eating too much of our budget, versus just an anecdotal gut feeling about how much time you're spending doing it. So in terms of projects, this is a screenshot. I redacted our client names from here, but this is a screenshot of how we're tracking projects. So if you think of this as, if you're in marketing and communications, if you're putting together newsletters, right? One of these could be newsletters that you track that. One of these could be, maybe you do work for other departments in the organization. Maybe you do stuff for HR. Maybe you do stuff for the foundation or for whatever it happens to be. So you can have these in there. I know some nonprofits, they actually charge back time to the department based on how much time they're spending in that. This is a very clear way to go, yeah, okay, you know what? Last month we spent 7 hours doing this thing, so we're going to charge them back for that time, right? Third one is support. So this is what we're doing internally here, but you can create a plethora of tasks. Each one of these is a task inside of ClickUp. And on that task, you can start and stop timers. We've built a dashboard to bring all these in. So we have a dashboard where anything that has time track brings that into this here. Anything that is tagged as support will dynamically bring that into this view here. It's really easy to pull pieces back and forth through the system. Okay, so thinking about your organization and what you do, about your current processes, how do you handle requests from other people? So it might be other, I only put departments on here, but how, like departments, your boss, stakeholders, donors, major gifts, corporations, as well as yourself. Like you have things that you want to do also. Are you actually using the project management tools? For anybody that has one, are you actually using those? It's one thing to have it, it's another to actually use it, right? Stephanie, I was taking a drink as I read what you typed in there and I almost spit it spit it out. Yeah, like it depends on who's asking. Absolutely. Okay, you're Laura using Trello. You, the boards are great over there. And Rossetti, I love what you're talking about here. If it's not in the tool, it doesn't exist. That is so great. And Mark, right? Your tool is email. Cool. If you don't have an email from somebody, then how are you going to know what you need to do? And Eli, when I'm in service mode, I have intake forms, requests from other departments. Yeah, so I'm going to show you actually I did not share my slide deck with Eli, but every couple of slides, the segue is perfect. So I'm going to show you the form that we use with our clients. Happen to be the next slide. Perfect. So we ask our clients, so think of your departments, think of you going and filling this out also so that you can create tasks. What is the priority of this? We have regular, which is 5 to 10 days. We have rush, which is, I think, 3 to 4 days. Urgent, which is 2 business days. And high priority is 2 to 4 hours, right? So we ask our clients to self-identify how urgent or not the task is. We get them to give us a description. They can upload files into here. They can do all of this. And when they submit this, it will create a task inside of Clickup. This is a Clickup form. And I want to show you this thing in action. I'm just going to load this up here. There we go. Okay, so this is our Clickup. And this is our request form. We have some stuff here, like if they want to upgrade packages or this or that, it doesn't really matter. You can edit this and make this say and do anything that you want. You can have those in there or not. So we ask them to pick their speed that they want. So maybe they want regular. Name would be David, and I'll put my email address in here. And we ask them, like, what is their inquiry? And we have a number of different options that are in here. For this example, it's all right, we have some updates or tech support that's needed. That is completely customizable. You can do anything you want there. I'm just going to, what should we call this here? A presentation support. Help design the deck. I can't type today. Design the deck. All right. Okay. So we submit this. Now, we have a couple things that happen on the back end of everything that we do over here, which is, and I'm going to talk about this after, is we use Slack. And when there's a new task submitted, it will automatically create a notification in a special Slack channel that we have. That way, everybody in the team is aware, hey, there's a new task. We also have AI automations on here. So it will automatically assign, I'm selected here, it'll automatically assign me to this task. And then we have things where it'll automatically update custom fields based on whatever was submitted. So then we can take a look at the board view. And we share this with our clients so they have access to this. The status of all the tasks is just a matter of like moving these around as we're working on it. We can click on it. We use this for our internal messaging on this task, working on a Google slide deck. Right, cool. And it keeps a log of all this, and we can have threaded messages. The other thing that we can do, which is really great, is we can hit email. And we can email the person back right from inside of this. So we can maintain all the communication inside of the tool. Now, this is to me, right? But if this emails to me and I hit reply as the person receiving it, when I reply, it'll come back into the task in here. So it really does keep it all neat and organized and all information in one place, which is one of the things that I love about the tool because it allows us to keep everything there. Earlier, I mentioned center of truth. This is what I mean. All the information is there in the task at hand when you need it. There's also this handy little timer. I could start the timer here, and all right, this is going to affect our actual time logs, but that doesn't matter. I can remove it. As I'm working on this task, I can start the timer and stop the timer. Anywhere that you go inside of ClickUp, you've got the little timer sitting up here at the top. So I can stop it there, and it'll track all the time. if I've gone in and I've forgotten to track time, you can manually enter it also. So let's say I spent 20 minutes. I'll pick a day. Let's say on Friday last week working on this. Right. I can add 20 minutes to the timer. And it's all right here inside of this. You can view the history of everything inside of here. So it makes it really clear and transparent, everything that's going on. Any questions about this? The form is absolutely totally customizable, so you can put in whatever fields you want inside of there. We use Google Workspace, and there's a Chrome extension for ClickUp. I've got it right up here. If any requests do come in by email, there's a little add to ClickUp button that shows up. And from Google email, I can just click that. It'll bring up all the spaces that we have here, and I can pick which space and which list I want to put that task into. So I don't even have to copy and paste. I don't have to download emails and upload or anything like that. So if you're not using Chrome and you're not using Google Workspace or Gmail, that won't work for you, but the benefits outweigh that, and we're okay with that. All right, cool. So back to the presentation here. I said back to the presentation. There we go. If anybody wants ClickUp, I've got a QR code here, but if you just Google, so this is actually my referral code. If you're interested in ClickUp, you get 10% off with it, but you can just Google or go to clickup.com and sign up. They do have a free tier, so you can actually sign up. I don't even think they ask for credit card details on the free tier, and you can start playing around with it if you wanted to. Something else that I wanted to show you inside of ClickUp is we created this fake nonprofit org in here just to show a little bit of how you can use the tool. ClickUp, each one of these areas here is called a space, and inside of a space, you could have folders as well as lists. So you could use this, for example, as a CRM. So here I've created one entry, Wow Digital. You can assign it to people. So I can assign this to anybody in my team if I wanted to. You can set the priority, who the contact is. For a lot of you, the name would probably be the contact. So you wouldn't need two fields. You could have a separate list for corporate sponsors that maybe they haven't donated anything, but you're trying to nurture them and get them to donate. Yeah, Eli, absolutely. A lot of this stuff transcends the platform. It doesn't really matter. You can do a lot of this in any of the platforms. So we've got contact info, how much they donated, what day did they donate, and the frequency of the donation. So you can do all this. You can, a lot of the donation platforms, you can actually just do this stuff right in there. And one of the things I'm going to be talking about later with Zapier, with Zapier is that you can actually, when somebody makes a donation in a platform, it automatically creates an entry in a different system and stuff like that. So I don't want to get into that right now, but you can synchronize systems. Again, you have a board view. You can just move these around however you want. So you know what? Yeah, they're in progress. We're working on getting them. And then in the list, it moves them around. The work requests I showed you, but you could build this out for programs and services. So you can have a list for active programs that you have. And what is the status of this program? Oh, you know what? The board of directors, they didn't like it, so we're not moving forward with it. Okay, cool. So it's a rejected idea. Awesome. It goes into a rejected status. You can, so active, past, and planning for the programs, you can have a list for, or a folder for fundraising and development, for operation stuff, for marketing and communications, for financial stuff, for volunteers, and recruiting, for boards of directors. You can have meetings and stuff in there. And this platform, like most of the platforms, they are permissions based. So you can have accounts in here, and you can say, you only have your board of directors person, you only have access to the board of directors folder. Oh, you're in marketing, you only have access to the marketing stuff. So you can segment different permissions. You can create groups. And so instead of assigning it to the person, you put the person in the group has access. Person leaves organization, you deactivate their account, you delete their account. You don't have to go into each thing individually. If anybody is interested in getting like an export of this stuff that we've got in here, I'm happy to do that as well. Just feel free to reach out, david@wowdigital.com later on, and I'm happy to share stuff with you. Okay. All righty. So the benefits of having a platform like this, right? You can stay organized, you'll have systemization, you're going to save time, you're going to have less stress, right? Because you're going to have better systems in place, time tracking to be able to make decisions. So the next tool I want to talk about, we're running short on time here. So I'm going to try to plow through here a little bit quicker. We've been using Slack for over 6 years. It's a messaging tool. And yes, you can have chats and messages inside of Clickup, which I didn't show, but you can totally do that all inside of Clickup. The problem is for Clickup, you have to have paid accounts. Slack, there's free. Also, if you want a paid Slack, you can do that as well. They have discounts for nonprofits. We've been using the free tier for 6 years and it works really well. The only difference is it only gives you 90 days of message history. So that's like a little caveat. So anything that we want to keep for a longer period of time, we make sure that we put that into ClickUp because it'll just live there until we stop using ClickUp. We meet as a team every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but sometimes we need to just send a quick little message, and that's what we use this for. It's permissions based, so you can have locked channels that you only give certain people access to. And then we use it for fun also. So in terms of the price, they'll give you a free upgrade as well as 85% off, which is really cool. So fun stuff that we use it for. We do some celebrations. I really do believe in building community and culture within my team. And so we do celebrations. We had a lunch and learn. Oscar posted a video of him opening up pizza box because I paid for lunch for everybody. Anniversaries and birthdays and fitness things, and Utmar's Zoom crash. So he was in there twice. So they thought it was funny. They did a screenshot and shared it. And I have a whole bunch of different suggestions on how you can use Slack in terms of different channels. So you can use it for operations. You can use it for marketing and communications, for social media, for videos, for podcasts, etc. You can use it for fundraising, right? So maybe there's some specific events, things like that. You can use it for special projects and special initiatives. Let's go back here for that. So maybe you're working on a website refresh or an annual report or something like that. And I hope I'm not going too fast through here. There is going to be a recording, Eli. But if you want any of these things, I could always send you an email with these channel suggestions.
Yeah, there'll definitely be a recording. I'll share that with everyone by the end of the day.
Awesome. So the team, the culture, building connection between people, right? Who wouldn't check in on a channel called Pet Pictures, right? So the benefits is that you're going to have your internal communication sorted out, and you're going to bring people in as needed and where they're needed, as well as you can create security around the channel. So it helps you bridge on-site and remote teams together for the benefit of the organization. So here, quick little QR code. This will be a V card with my contact details. Feel free to text me. That's my personal cell number instead of the corporate number. Not everybody's always willing to hop on a call right away. So if you want to text and have a conversation, happy to do that. I have this a little bit later on in here as well. Then we've got the third tool is MailChimp. So you've got ActiveCampaign, Constant Contact, Beehive, Kit. There's a whole bunch of them. We're partners with all those platforms. But what I can tell you is really the difference is maybe the interface, how they connect with in different systems, as well as the cost. So MailChimp, it could be used for obviously creating email lists, automating onboarding. You could have email automations, newsletters, and updates for external as well as internal. So depending on the size of your organization, you might want to have some internal emails that go out, right? Instead of sending out an email to all staff or something like that, using a platform like this will prevent anybody from hitting reply all. And then you get these massive, I don't know if you've had that happen, but it's wild. As well, you can use tools like this to do A/B testing. So you can test the day of the week that you send the email, the time of the day, as well as the design of your email. So what happens when somebody lands on your email list? Here's really what you should have. First thing is you need to have an email journey sequence. It's usually a series of 3 to 7 emails where you talk about the organization, you provide some value, some updates, some inspiration, some kind of way of emotionally connecting with them, and then talk about the impact your organization has. I really do not recommend having every email ask for donation. People don't want to be hit over the head asking for a donation over and over and over. You need to get the know and trust factors. I talk about these all the time. If any of you listen to my podcast or have been on any of my other sessions, you need to build those with your audience. It's really important, right? So giving them insight about why you do what you do, it's going to hit their empathy, and bringing them along your journey will keep you top of mind when it comes time for donations. So keeping your organization on the same page for internal comms will help build community and ensure everybody knows the latest happenings. All right, the fourth tool is Zapier or other things. So there's like make.com, there's Albato, there's a whole plethora of them. And wouldn't it be easy to like wouldn't be great to ease your mental load? I love leveraging tech. There's an organization recently that I met with, and they were copying and pasting email addresses and names from one system into another. And I'm like, you could simplify all this and not spend 20 minutes a day, an hour a week, whatever it was that they were spending doing that. So we can automate that, right? So we can move info, I like to say automagically instead of automatically. So somebody signs up for your email newsletter, they're automatically put into your CRM system and they are sent the customer journey. That's what I'm talking about here. You can skip repetitive manual tasks. I think Zapier connects with like over 50,000 different platforms, some of them on their free tier, some of them you need to be on a paid tier. And you set it up once, and maybe you need to tweak it a little bit over time, but you set it, and for Ron Popeil, if anybody's old enough to remember that, set it and forget it. And they do have nonprofit discounts of 15%. Are there any tasks that you perform over and over that you're like, I don't want to do this anymore? Your first thing should be, all right, how can I leverage a tool like Zapier or Make or Albato or whatever they happen to be? Sorry, Laura, you can also create automations to create tasks and project management Slack. Yeah. So yes, you can definitely create automations to do all that stuff. Absolutely. It might need a third-party tool like Zapier, or inside of Clickup, there's automations you can build inside of there, but some of them are a little bit limited. Yeah. So I hope that nobody here is copying and pasting stuff from an email into spreadsheet or CRM and stuff. If you are, this is a great tool for you. So it's like your behind the scenes assistant. And these are some things that you can do, right? So when a new donation comes in, you add that donor automatically to your email list. If it's a different system, if it's all in one, it's all in one. If there's a new form filled out, you can automatically create a task in whatever project management tool that you're using. The example I showed, it'll do it automatically because it's in the same tool. Let's say there's a new event registration. You could have a Slack notification sent or email sent off, right? So this is an example of one of the automations that we created for one of our clients where somebody filled out a donation form. Then it runs through Zapier, adds them to MailChimp. There's an automation inside MailChimp that will automatically send an email. Then there's a task created in ClickUp and a message sent to a specific Slack channel. And this could all be done. And it's relatively easy. Some of the automation platforms are a little bit harder than others. So ultimately, you'll be able to save time, reducing human error. You'll be less frustrated because you're not doing this boring, mundane stuff. And you'll be running parts of your work on autopilot. Okay. So next steps. Choose a process that you want to document this month, whatever that happens to be. So here's a few examples. So it could be your onboarding process. It could be, how do you review and approve social media posts? It could be, how do we plan our events? Or even a donation thank you flow. So somebody makes a donation, what happens next? But how do you do this? Right? The first thing is to write down your actual process right now. What is it that you are doing? The second is to identify bottlenecks. Maybe it relies on somebody copying and pasting information, or maybe it goes to somebody that's a volunteer and they're only there once a week. Whatever those bottlenecks are. And then you can build a checklist or a template to make sure, all right, here are all the tasks that need to get done. And then share this and get buy-in, get approval from, maybe it's your boss, or maybe it's just you looking at it and going, you know what, this makes sense. Yeah, we're going to do this and we're going to try it. So this is what I'm talking about one small little thing. And here's a quick little pro tip. Pick one thing small, pick a pain point, something you're probably all sitting here going, oh my God, yeah, this would save me so much time with this thing. Use that thing. Write down right now, not necessarily in the chat, but write down the thing that you need. That's that thorn in your side, right? Get one tool working really well for that task, and then just build on from there. Okay, so here's your ultimate outcome from all this, right? You are going to have more time for what matters. You're going to have streamlined systems, less firefighting, more time for strategic growth and the bigger thinking that probably a lot of you need to do, but you're struggling to find the time. You're going to be calmer, more focused, hopefully leading to less burnout or no burnout. In the ideal world, you'll boost your collaboration and you're going to help your team stay energized, right? And ultimately, you're going to be built to grow sustainably, right? When your operations are running smoothly, you're not surviving. You're set up to scale your programs, to scale your funding, to scale your reach with confidence. So I'm curious, what has been the most helpful for you from today's session? Do you want to come off mic or type it in the chat? I know we're like right on time here. I've got, I think, 3 more slides. Oh, no, I've got 8 more slides, but they're pretty quick. All right, so as you're typing in chat, whatever you found helpful and useful about today, that's great. Yes, document the processes, absolutely. This is not progressing. There we go. All right, so with the right mix of tools and systems, you're going to say goodbye to your headache of the mundane. You're going to save 3 to 5 hours or maybe even more a month so that you can maximize your productivity, get more done. And if what I've talked about today has inspired you and you're ready to get some help, I want to see you actually take some action today. Feel free to head over to wowdigital.com/consult to book your meeting with me, just a conversation. Nothing salesy. I'm just going to give you straight up, here's what my advice is based on whatever is going on in your organization. Right. And the truth is really, you don't have to be a multi-million dollar organization to make $1 million impact. You have to make the right decisions at the right time to commit to having a more scalable future. The key is really just to start, take some kind of action. 1 foot forward is better than no foot forward. So do you want to stay the status quo or are you ready to get moving here? The system transformation ultimately starts with you. For everybody that's here, I have an ebook. If you want to go and grab it, absolutely go and do that. wowdigital.com/ebook. It's 3 simple words to increase your donations by 20%. It's backed on psychology. So it really does work. Thank you, everybody, as well, for taking time to be here.